Phones off.
Did I share this?
I'll let the magic begin.
Let's see. I don't know if I shared it or not. I feel like I did. I'm slacking.
Browse.
Let's see.
But welcome to the Doom Ninja Podcast, a special Monday taping.
Yep.
This could be the night we do it now forever.
Possibly.
So that'll be coming up. So do you want to deliver the quote unquote bad news?
Bad news.
This is the last of something.
Last of the year.
This is the last live recording of the year.
Yep, because Nate said that he's had enough and he needs to get away.
I'm out.
He said, I want to get away. He said that.
I want to fly
just like that
away
way.
To Tennessee. Tennessee?
I thought it was Mississippi that David Banner always started spelling.
No, it's Tennessee by... No, who does that? It's a song about way back in the day when I was like, it's maybe older than you.
Tennessee.
So this is also the last of something else. I think we can officially announce it.
Last of something else.
This is the last Facebook live recording.
Oh, I see. I went 100% on that. But yeah, I know Facebook was giving us troubles, and we were.
No, we got an email from the last one too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm getting emails. So Facebook Live is giving us copyright. They shut down the stream once, and then they sent us two separate emails for two different saying that our streaming content matches copyright material. Here's the issue. For the most part, we stream our own video.
Yeah.
Or we've streamed the media release videos that the pages actually have on their media tab that basically says, hey, this is the video you should use when you talk about the game. So at no point have we used non-fair use video.
Yeah. It's dumb. But hopefully Twitch won't give us those problems because people stream every damn video game you can imagine on there and it's still going.
Yep. So it's Twitch TV/Doom Ninja Podcast. We'll start updating all social media with that here very soon.
Yep. Make sure that everything shows it.
And then the first podcast, live recording podcast of January will be on Twitch.
Yep. We'll point you in the right direction. So we're going to get started here.
Oops, clear it out. So we're going to start recording as soon as I get... Which one are we doing first?
Doesn't matter to me.
Do Dragon's Dogma.
Dragons.
Actually, let's do Happy Dogma until 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Just because.
Happy Gilmore.
Ready to record? So, Ryan.
So, Nate. That's so Raven.
Yes.
Raven Idol.
Raven Idol?
You haven't played Hearthstone in a while?
Oh, not in forever.
It's a druid card. There's a new expansion for that, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't played since we talked about the 2 expansions ago.
Oh yeah, new expansion is pretty awesome.
1. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah, maybe you could play some of the other one while you're on your holiday or something, and then we could talk about the new expansion.
Okay, we can do that. We talked last week about Happy Wars.
Well, a few weeks ago, wasn't it?
Was it maybe a few weeks ago?
I think it was a few weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago we talked about Happy Wars. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek MOBA, fun little graphics made by a company called Toy Logic, published by Microsoft. And I got it for Games for Gold. And then I was looking through my library of Games for Gold games. Honestly, I buy them all, so they're on my account. And then I don't download them because I have the original Xbox, which only had a 500 gigabyte hard drive. And Titanfall takes up like a fifth of that, plus some of the other games we play, like Disney Infinity and stuff like that. So my hard drive's pretty full.
So you did the buy in air quotes, didn't you? For the listening audience?
Yes.
So I guess once they're available for free, you go through the purchasing.
As long as you're within, while it's free, you hit basically, it says buy, even though the price is $0, it puts it on your account. So if I go to my apps/games available for download, it's going to list basically 2.5 years of Games for Gold games, because I don't think I've missed one since they started doing Games for Gold. So I saw Happy Wars, and I was like, wait a minute, I thought we'd already did Happy Wars, but I started it up and it was doing a tutorial. And I realized that it was a separate game, Happy Dungeons.
Still happy.
Yeah, same people, same artwork, same mechanics somewhat. There's some changes. but it's basically a button masher. You get put in a room, a bunch of enemies pop up, you have to kill all the enemies, and it lets you go into the next room. As you kill enemies, you get coins that let you get other things, gear drops, and the gear does affect your stats. So it's somewhat of an MMO type or your standard RPG experience.
Kind of like a Diablo by the looks of it.
Yes, that's actually a good way of putting it. Diablo, but imagine it being every room in Zelda where you in a dungeon where you went in a room, the doors closed behind you, had to kill all the things, and then the doors opened. That's how this works. And then in between rooms, you have the ability to change out your gear, change out some of your skills. And then the difference between here and Happy Wars is the D-pad. You have items. They're like potions or spears, which spears kind of do are like they do extra damage and they can be done from a distance. You control where they goes up, down, left, and right on the D-pad. So you can have your own. I'll use the word build based on what kind of items in your playstyle, and they even say that in the tutorial. Is some people go full potions because they like to get up in there and get up and dirty in the mix, if you will, or they use a lot of the ranged spears because spears do a lot of damage there. You don't get them real easily. But the whole point is to just clear the room, and then there's some obstacles, like you can throw things. There's a somewhat interactive environment between there's times you can pick up items and throw them, and like before, there's 3 classes. There's a fighter class, a cleric class, and a mage class. So really, just it comes down to what kind of play style you want to do. The cleric is more healing and kind of self buff, or then
supporty character,
where the magical is obviously all ranged, and then the fighter is all up in your grill. It is multiplayer, up to 4 people. There's a lobby when you start a quest, which is basically going through the preconceived rooms. There's a quest, and you can have people join you up to 4, or 4 total, including yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's fun. It's a good button masher. If you like the artwork from Happy Wars, you'll like the artwork from Happy Dungeon. It's literally the same. It's the same engine, everything, minus a few tweaks to make it RPG versus a MOBA.
Yeah, it reminds me of something you'd see on like an animated DreamWorks movie or something, like really kid friendly.
Like if you could reskin this Minions, it would make sense.
Yeah. You were talking about the consumables, the potions. Just out of curiosity, do they have a cooldown on them, or can you just spam them?
There's a cooldown, but it's not very long.
Gotcha.
But you don't get the consumables. They're not. It's not like Diablo where they drop every 3 seconds. You might get 1 or 2 a room. So if you spam through and use them all, you're not going to be a happy person.
So then you can't play it because Happy Dungeon. And if you're no longer happy, the game actually deletes off your computer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unique programming. It's a procedural generated emotion.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a game called Pissed Off Platformer or something like that.
So it's going to get mad?
Yeah, and I'll just make it really hard, make the controls kind of not work the way that you want them to work, and then you'll always have the game.
Nice.
But eventually you'll get good at it, and you'll be like, all right, I'm doing a good job. Done. Cutting that shit right out.
You should do it next Ludum Dare.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you were talking about that. You were interested in...
Yeah, I need to get my chops up a little bit. There's a couple things I need to get better at, and I'd actually be legit interested in doing that.
I think the next one I'm going to put on the calendar, because I need a little change of scenery anyway from the game that I'm working on. I was thinking about doing something else for a little bit. I mean, still doing a little bits of work on it here and there, but I'm kind of waiting for some art to get sent out, and then just get a fresh perspective on things.
Yeah,
it'll be a
change
good
paper.
Yeah, it'll be nice. I mean, having the vacation and being able to have a couple episodes of this kind of already going. I might do a studio update for it, but anyway, that's beside the point. Talking about Happy Dungeon.
I like it. I'm a fan of a good button masher. Like, I mean, the original one, like for me, God of War was one of the first ones I really was like, this is kind of cool. Like, yes, there's mechanics to it. Yes, you can min max and optimize your attacks, but in the end, you're just kind of pushing buttons in a somewhat logical sense to beat all the bad guys.
Yeah, the first one I can remember like that really stuck out was Devil May Cry. The first Devil May Cry was awesome.
And this one, there is abilities. You can cycle through them. X is your basic attack. A and B are attacks that you can kind of cycle through depending on what you need, and Y is an ulti. and the Ys use it, and they have a AP cost and a cooldown associated with them. And your AP is just your mana in other games, your action points, and they just recharge over time.
Oh, I thought it was like your ass power or something like that.
Yeah, that's a special epic class.
So the action points actually changes to ass power.
Yeah,
and see
on the high end. Yeah.
See if our friend of the show Kale joined in this game, I mean his character would already come pre-made with like 1,000 ass power.
This is true
because everywhere he goes is just a gas container for him to fill. It was so fun. Recently, we played games over here at your house. Yesterday, Kale was here as well, and there were a few times where you guys didn't catch it, but I know his rumblings, and I would look over, and he would just start turning red, just laughing. It's like, come on, because I always give him hell for it. Like I'll do like the crazy like slow head turn, serious face, like what are you doing? Type of thing. He's like, just don't do it.
I know your rumblings. That's a good episode.
Yes, I know your rumblings. I need to type that.
I would give this a legit 7 out of 10 for what it is. The gameplay is good. It doesn't get old very fast because you can cycle through the powers and it really accommodates different play styles. Plus, you get multiple character slots, so you can literally play as a fighter, the cleric, or the wizard, and kind of go through things and get different kind of gear. So if you're if you're a person if you're the opposite of me and has like 30 alts, this game really does allow you to kind of play with all of the different kind of archetypes and really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I would. So does this have online as well? Okay, because these are the types of games that I like playing with people. The other game that we're going to be talking about is another game that I felt like if I played with people, it would have been improved.
Yeah.
Because it has some similarities of Happy Dungeon. I mean, the combat is kind of similar. Getting items and equipping new items and things like that. It's kind of a trope used on everything. So, I would be interested in trying it out. We need to find some way to play more of these games together. We need to figure something out about that.
Someone needs internet. That's the...
Yeah, well, that's... As soon as the job situations get ironed out, we're going to be looking for another place to live, and I'm sure it will have better internet. I'm positive.
Good.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to start streaming then, too, some development stuff, because why not?
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt anything. I'm just going to ignore chat because I have to focus.
Yeah. Kale said it wasn't him.
Yeah. But he said it like Shaggy, so I don't trust him. He said, "There wasn't me." He said, "There wasn't me."
Oh, that Shaggy.
Caught him
with Scooby.
Zoinks! It wasn't me. This guy. Yeah, I just randomly picked like some character that it could sound like. Actually, it sounded like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. It wasn't me.
It's pretty good, actual Dr. Claw. And then Kale's dad called me Nate Kravitz.
Yeah, that was from earlier.
Yeah, that's funny. I just now noticed. But again, check out the game. It's on Xbox Live. It's not free anymore. However, it's $9.99 or $12.99 to buy it. It came out last year. The original Happy Wars actually came out in 2012 and was ported over to Xbox One. Happy Dungeon came out last year. I want to say it was fall of last year.
Gotcha. So it's not very old.
And came out, and I enjoy it. I'm kind of with you, and I think it would play better with multiple people that you knew, especially if you use the Xbox chat feature or voice chat feature and can be goofy and talk and just have fun. So check it out. Again, Nate Gray, GRUI 0130 is my Xbox gamer tag. Send me an invite, and I will gladly play this game.
He says he wants you to play with him. He doesn't have enough friends. They're in this room right now.
Well, way to point it out, buddy. Made me self-conscious about my...
He's actually a really likable guy, to be honest. If you want to go there,
thanks,
he's pretty charismatic.
It's a good way to end it.
All right.
At work, a guy says, I have a charisma of 20.
I'm guessing that's good.
D&D. Oh, yeah, sorry. If you never played, like, D&D. 20 is the highest stat you can have, basically, without, like, cheating.
God, I'm, like, keeping myself from friggin' coughing. It sucks. Should have brought some cough drops.
So, those watching the live stream, we record the podcasts in segments. We do this for that way editing is easier. Also, we figured out there's been some issues, and that didn't ruin the whole recording. It just ruined a segment, or we only had to fix a segment. Yeah. Additionally, we try to keep the podcast under an hour, and we've recorded stuff, and at the end, it's like an hour and 45 minutes worth of content. We'll save some of the segments for a future episode. So, even though we won't have any live recordings then for the rest of the year, we're not going to miss any release dates. So every Thursday until even the next live recordings, the next 2 Thursdays, we're still going to have episode releases, which is how this whole segment thing works. It allows us to build up episodes, and we had enough to build up 2, which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some of it might seem... The only problem is sometimes we reference other things that were in past segments, so some of it might be a little confusing as far as some of the jokes, but if you can figure out which one it goes to, you'll be all right.
My wife giggled at us. She's doing homework. All right, so that's exported.
All right, getting the show notes up for the next game.
Video playing. Get towards the middle because you were all...
Son of a gun. Full of coughs. Cough the hammer.
As we mentioned, Ryan, on last episode, we decided to start buying games at the same time, or getting game bundles and whatnot at the same time, so that way we'd have more mutual discussions of games as opposed to just kind of one of us giving an opinion while the other nods their head and asks questions.
Yes, and my specific recommendation was the Humble Monthly, because it gives you a good value for your buck. There's usually a good mix of sometimes AAA, but a lot of higher, popularity indie games. Thought that was a good place to start. So I got it for this month, and you're like, oh, I'm going to wait until the next month. I was like, Christmas, yours.
Yep, so I got
there
it.
You go.
Which reminds me, Friday I got to buy next month, or just set up the revolving subscription.
Gotcha. So go ahead.
What was the game we did last week?
The one we did last week. Hold on, my brain's broken. Minion Masters,
which we're both still playing.
Yeah, I was playing it today.
I played it. I didn't play today. I played yesterday, though, after you guys left. I played some, and before you guys came over to our house, we played some. So the game we picked last week to do this week is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. And
this was the one that, the way the Humble Monthly is set up, if you pay before the month starts, they give you a single game before they give you the rest of the bundle. So the next one is some Warhammer game for this month. So if you paid for your subscription earlier, even if you already had a subscription, you have to pay sooner. So you pay your $12 now, and you'll get that first game. And that's how this one was, Dragon's Dogma. So we could have talked about this one even before this, but...
It's the Total Warhammer Vermintide.
Yeah, Vermintide. Was it just a big wave of rats?
Sort of.
Makes sense, then. All right. Or is it laundry detergent? Or using rats instead of laundry detergent?
No, Tide's pretty against that.
Oh, dang it.
Tide is not a sponsor of the show.
I was telling Sandra, unrelated to games, we have 2 magnets on our fridge. They were given to me by a customer at the job that I used to work at. And he always has these as seen on TV type of things. And they're supposed to be these magnets coated in rubber that you put them into your washer, and you don't need detergent. They clean your clothes. Don't ask me. We just made a joke of them. So we had some of them that we kept on the wall at the store, because we knew where the metal was, so it would actually stick up there. And sometimes we just take them off the wall and be like, oh man, I got a dirty spot on my shirt, and just rub it on our shirt and put it back up there. But now I have them on my refrigerator, because they're doing more good sitting there than they would be in destroying my washer. Because they're a little wider than an Oreo, and they're about square, as dimensions are 1.5 by 1.5, something like that. So they would just wreck a washer.
Did you try them?
No. I paid a lot of money for my washer.
Go to a public one and just throw them in there and see what happens.
I was telling Sandra, we're both in job transitions. If we run out of too much money, we'll just stop using detergent and use these magnets that I'm sure are super safe and actually get clothes clean, and I guess probably give your clothes that vintage look. We
actually make our own washing detergent, and you can get a 6-month supply for $6 $9 when we make it, and it works pretty well.
That's pretty sweet.
But anyway, we
Yeah.
digress.
Oh, no more Vermintide laundry. We're
That
talking.
was a weird 2-minute
We're
tangent.
talking Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. So this is. I can't. I couldn't tell if it was a second of the Dragon's Dogma or if it was a like Dragon's Dogma plus expansions or the second one plus expansions because I was looking into the like synopsis of it and I wasn't really sure, which seems to be kind of a recurring theme with this game. That things that are going on, I'm not really sure about.
Let's start with the good. So it was released January this year.
Yep, 2016, so it's a little less than a year old.
And who made it?
Capcom, actually. So this is a big game studio that worked on it. They make, what, Street Fighter, the Mega Man series, they did Lost Planet.
Yeah,
Capcom's been around forever.
I forgot this was made by Capcom, which makes me a little more mad and want to be less forgiving for... We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It's on Steam for $29.99.
Yep. Or if you got the Humble Bundle, it was $12 with a lot of other games.
Yeah. We should get paid by Humble Bundle for as much as we talk about it on this podcast.
We need to get more people listening to us first.
True story.
Like, all right, we'll pay you for the 55 people that listened last week. All right. Your penny's in the mail.
Whoa. I just want to say it was more than 55 people listening.
Oh, last I checked, it was 55. What are we at? Are we doing this now? Are we?
No, we're not. Stop. Wow, this is the most tangented episode ever. We're at 58.
It doesn't matter. 58?
Yeah.
I thought you said 158. I was like, damn.
we're at 58, which is pretty good.
We'll get there eventually.
Our
be
first
awesome.
week run through, because we get another 30% of our listens or 40% of our listens come like people catching up.
Sweet, dude. We're on 20 today, by the way. I don't know if you caught that.
We're on 20.
The big 20.
Oh, episode 20.
Yeah, that's a landmark.
Yeah. It's 19 more than we thought we were going to do, so...
Well, I figured we'd do at least 10. That was my goal, is to shoot for 10 and then see how it went. Our growth hasn't been as big as I would have hoped, but I'm not complaining about the growth.
No, because we are growing every week.
Yep. Just a little bit. And I feel like at a point there's just going to be like this big burst from something. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma.
You know, I feel... You know, we both are Kevin Smith podcast fans, and this episode is very much the tangent-rich environment.
It's okay.
Makes me laugh.
People can learn about us a little more.
That's true.
And we'll put a little more personality into it, because we always talk about our own things as well. And we will get to the point somewhere. So, the basis of this game, this Capcom game, that's on Steam for $29.99, it's a third-person open-world RPG in the vein of the Elder Scrolls type of games.
It very much felt like a Sky... This felt like someone skinned it with Skyrim.
It's insanely similar. It has the same type of high fantasy. There's a dragon. I mean, dragon's in the name. There's a big dragon right at the beginning of the game. The
only thing I was using Skyrim as a comparison, yes, the environment looks very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Even some of the monsters similar. However, the bosses, so far I've run into 2 bosses, they were impressive.
The bosses look really cool.
The Chimera you fight in the tutorial-ish thing, the opening story or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that just destroys you.
It was... Really?
Yeah, it just ate me alive. I couldn't do anything to it. Dude, I couldn't. I just got destroyed. I got rocked.
That's weird.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like I was missing a button or something, but it just took out my whole team and then destroyed me.
Oh man, we were climbing all over it. I beat it.
Dude, I didn't even know you can climb on it.
Did you not pay attention to the tutorial while it was going through?
I guess not. But the game gives you 2 tutorials anyway. What was that about?
Yeah, that's true.
It's really weird.
We know me in tutorials, but we get 2 of them.
Yeah, it gave me an hour of tutorial play. I had to go back and play again because I wanted to have a more thorough understanding of the game. Because usually I play like an hour, and then I try to give it something on that. But I had to go back and play like another hour, hour and a half, just so I felt like I could, really have an opinion on it.
So, the cool thing, like I said, the boss mob, the goblins and stuff I run into, they're I would say they're a standard looking render. Like, I would give it you put effort into it, good job. But the bosses, the Chimera, the dragon itself, I thought could have been a hair better, but once you fought it, the cutscenes, in my opinion, were worse than actually fighting the dragon. Like, it looked cooler fighting the dragon versus the cutscene of the dragon doing stuff, which is kind of usually backwards.
Did you fight the Hydra?
No.
There's a snake-headed Hydra that looked really cool.
I haven't got there
It
yet.
had 4 heads. Yeah, I thought that was going to be another fight where it was like, oh, it's just going to own me. But you only had to defeat one of the heads, and it was like a tiny smidge of the health bar. That's one thing I was running into in this game, is that I wasn't doing crap for damage, ever. I don't know if that's something that you saw happen as well. I know you said you went... So the classes in this are basically like the Happy Dungeon. You have a
There's just 3.
warrior,
Yeah.
you have a ranged...
Strider.
Yeah, strider, which is daggers and bows, and then you have a mage that casts and does healing and whatnot, and can enchant weapons. And they have a secondary system of like buddies called pawns that come out of the abyss or whatever, kind of like Dishonored.
There's another dimension of these. They're kind of golems or myrmidons that they can function, but they don't have like logical thinking and they don't have like emotion per se. They're more like, we're here to help you fight, but you have to tell us what to do.
They have the same classes as you get to choose from, so you can have a warrior help you. And they say you can get up to 3 of them, but for whatever reason, it was only letting me get 2. And when I tried to get the third one, when I went into the abyss and tried to get the guy that had no pants on, because he was cracking me up, they just wouldn't let me take him. It said, no, this guy's not ready to go. He's not fully developed. Hey, we're still working on the pants section.
Yeah, tell you why. He's like, bro, you no pants. Obviously, you can't pick him.
Yeah, his character doesn't know how to put his pants on. Seems kind of like the character that you were playing in that board game yesterday. When you were all those rolls you were missing. We were playing Pathfinder card game.
Pathfinder Adventure card game.
Yeah, and it requires rolling a lot of dice.
I had like 4d12, and I needed a 10. I rolled like a 4.
And there were a lot of things that like had to do intelligence checks, and his guy had no intelligence, like a D4 for intelligence. So we were joking about his derpy blood warrior.
Good times.
Oh man, yeah, it was fun.
So the completionist me knew I was gonna hate this game because there was already 1,000 things to pick up. Like you literally could walk around a room and there'd be jars and all kinds of crazy stuff to pick up, and then I couldn't find stuff I picked up. So I was on the beach. I shot a seagull and I dropped a golden egg.
As seagulls normally do.
I picked it up and then could never find the golden egg because it even says, check your inventory and the description for items. It may give you a clue of what it's for. Couldn't find the golden egg.
Dude, so that means somewhere down the line, a seagull banged one of the geese from Willy Wonka's factory, and there's a hybrid now that lays golden eggs.
I killed it.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah, bro. I know.
It was just trying to eat Doritos, as seagulls do. It was just looking for Doritos.
Mine. So so let's talk about the combat system.
Yeah. It's a little clunky from my experience as the Strider. The daggers that I had dealt more damage than my bow, but not much damage to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the plain Jane goblin guys would take, I would say, 15 to 20 hits with a dagger, or 25 to 30 arrows.
Jeez.
Just a ton. And it seemed like every enemy that I encountered was like that. There's these crocodile people that there's no point even shooting with arrows. It just does nothing. And if the pawn with me wouldn't have enchanted my weapon with fire, I would have literally taken 5 minutes to kill each one of these crocodile men.
Jeez.
Did you encounter the crocodile men?
No, the last thing I did was I beat the Cyclops.
Okay.
And then started exploring a little. That's as far as I got.
Gotcha. There's these crocodile men in the bottom of a well, and defeating one of them felt like it was going to be some sort of boss battle. And the first time I went down there, one showed up, and then they spawn after a few minutes, and there were eventually 5 or 6 of them, and it kept knocking my guys down, and there's just nothing I can do about it. And it even says, like, sometimes it's better to run away from a battle than to fight it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's just overly difficult, and maybe I'm not supposed to be here, because I ran into another fight like that I had to go away from. But I went back when I bought weapons and was able to kill them, but it was only because whatever one of the pawns was doing was stunning it every, 3 seconds, so it couldn't hit. So I would just lay into it for still a minute and a half solid to kill one of these enemies.
It's crazy. The control-wise, it is a Capcom game, because you had a light attack and heavy attack, so just like every Street Fighter game.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 2 slightly different experiences. You played with a gamepad, I played with keyboard and mouse. I could either left control or left alt to go to have an alternate attack, because it would be strong or weak attack, strong attack, or heavy attack, light attack, and then left control was my healing spells, right left control was healing, left alt was my fireball spell. You did it, and while it's charging, there's like a little bar. You could aim, but it was like predetermined aim points, and it was really clunky to move it around. The heal spell, which is like an area of effect heal, I couldn't figure out how to do anything but move the camera. Like, no matter what I pushed, I couldn't project my... I did it one time, I don't even know how I did it. And it was super clunky. And the camera movement, like there's an obvious guy in front of you to shoot, and you whip around with the camera view, your guy doesn't really turn to face it similarly.
The camera's weird in multiple places in this game, I noticed.
So, like, Skyrim's combat is fairly, like, down to earth.
It doesn't take long to pick up.
Yeah, this was clunky, and what should be easy wasn't. And, like, simple things like camera movement and trying to target other things really made the game clunky. I've said clunky like 40 times. That's the best word. It's like someone who didn't know how to... It's a combat system I would make with my current knowledge of Game Maker. It'd be clunky and not smooth.
Well, I don't think it would be as good as what they have there, because people there definitely know a little bit about making games. But the game did feel like it missed the mark in a few different places. I mean, like I was saying, the camera, not just in combat, in cutscenes, because the cutscenes, a lot of them use the in-game graphics. And there was one cutscene in particular where you're supposed to be talking to a lady, and the camera came up behind me, and it was showing, like, from her neck down. It wasn't even showing her face. And it wasn't until the camera changed positions completely that it actually framed us. That's a cutscene. So the camera should know where to be, because the cutscene's always going to be the same. You're always going to be trying to point at the character. You would think you'd be pointing at the character the same way. Little things like that. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that, because apparently a lot of work did go into the game, because there's a ton of content. But it feels like a lot of work that should have went into it in polish just wasn't there. A lot of the world felt pretty sparse to me. Like there's a lot of travel without seeing much of anything aside from just things to gather.
Yeah, which, like, it's weird. The vistas, if you will, the far backgrounds looked amazing. Like when you're walking along the beach, and if you look, there's cliffs where you can't get to them, but it's just to add a background to the view, and mountains and a forest
to make you feel like you're in a world.
It looked really good. Like I was really the art in the game really made me happy. It really felt like a Skyrim game, but it still. I looked around and there's one part I found a cliff, and I was like, that's really cool. Just the overall view. So that part's great. But then in the same vein, some of the character models and the villain models, except for the bosses, seemed, like you said, not polished.
Yeah, that's a problem that, I don't know, really detracted from my experience with the game. Like I said, I tried playing it twice, so I put roughly 2.5 hours into it. And usually with games where you're consistently leveling up and getting more powerful, I usually like stuff like that. It's the driving force. You're like, oh, I want the better item, and then I want to use the better item so I can be overpowered for a little while. Then it becomes kind of neutral, and then you find another item, and that item feels super strong. Yeah. But I never got that. I bought the best items that I could from the shop and never felt powerful at any point. The quests that I picked up, I completed 2 on accident, and their menus are laid out kind of strange. Like you said, you couldn't even find a damn golden egg when you picked it up. There's supposed to be like a quest tracker thing in the menu. You can go to your quest section, it'll show the list of all your quests, and it says, show where the quest is by pressing Y or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it just shows where I am on the map. And it never showed me like anything of where the quests were. The only thing it showed is where the quest givers were. It felt like it wasn't doing what it should have been doing. And maybe I'm just spoiled with like the way that WoW is now, where it kind of gives you an idea of like, here's a circle of where something is.
This will tell you the zone you have to be in, but that's as far as it goes. So if your quest giver is in a city, there's a red circle at the exit. And if that next zone is still not the next one, you'll see another red circle that'll take you to the exit until you get to the right map. And then that, to me, that was as far as I saw for quest mapping. Was like, hey, it's in this zone somewhere.
Yeah, it just wasn't very clear. Like, there's one quest part where it said you could kill 5 rabbits to finish the quest. And it seemed like a lot of the quests you didn't have to turn in. It would just be finished at a point.
Basically.
Yeah. And I killed 4 of these rabbits. I found them all in this one area. And I could have swore I killed a fifth one. It just didn't count, and they didn't respawn. So that quest was just kind of 405. I went back a couple times to see, like, okay, are there any rabbits? Like, what's the deal? I want to finish this so I can get a few experience. And it just wouldn't let me. And a lot of the other quests that I picked up, I just didn't know, like, where to go or what to do. It was really, I don't know. I feel like it's nice having a game where you're doing a lot of exploring to try to figure things out. But at a point, maybe I've been just spoiled too much by some games. I kind of want some guidance. Like, I really like Zelda games. I like a lot of the newer Zelda games. I didn't really care for the 2D ones where it was a little more exploration, but once it went 3D, I really liked a lot of the 3D Zelda games, and a lot of those kind of guide you. They kind of push you along. A lot of the times you can only go one direction. I'm not saying it should always be like that, but at some point there should be something to be like, "Hey, go this way. You've been in this area for an hour and you're not supposed to be there. Come on now." Like,
Yeah.
the main storyline should kind of push you in the right direction. And they say your pawns are supposed to, like, when you talk to them, they're supposed to kind of point you in the right direction. I didn't really get that too much. I talked to him a few times, and he's like, "Nice sword," or something.
Yeah.
Like, just
And they
some
kept picking
stupid.
up stuff, and I was like, well, how do I get to his stuff that he keeps picking up? And I finally figured it out. That would be my biggest complaint. Besides, I agree with you on the questing. Like, it seemed. I mean, maybe we are spoiled, and where it was like they took all the thought out of it. Like, I remember playing EverQuest back in the day. You had to figure out the quest text to say to make the NPC say something, and there was no hint. It was like, hope you read the quest dialogue and you can get the context clues. So maybe it's a little bit being spoiled. I hated the UI.
Yeah, the UI was
The
not
entire interface of the
great
game,
either.
I hate every ounce of it. It wasn't logical in my opinion. Trying to the weird item to equipment to equipping things to comparing things. It was way more difficult than should be for keyboard and mouse. And there was times where you had to use the keyboard arrows even to do things like clicking on it with the mouse didn't work. But if I hit up down, not WASD, the actual up down left right keys to make things work.
And that goes right along the lines of it feeling unfinished.
Yeah.
It feels like it just kind of got sent out, and they should have spent another 6 months or so on it. I guess depending on the team size, they should have just spent more time on it. But apparently, people really like this game. It got good reviews on Steam. I think it was 90 something percent positive, which I was surprised when I saw that, honestly, because my experience, just comparing it to Skyrim, for instance, I hadn't played a whole lot of games just like Skyrim previous to that, like the Elder Scrolls stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I played Fallout 3. It's kind of similar.
Yeah.
And I like that, but I played all the way through Skyrim and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with Skyrim. And with this, like, it never grabbed me. Some of the bosses looked cool, but I never felt that power surge that a lot of games let you feel, like when you get new items and things like that.
Yeah.
They just weren't guiding me correctly. I felt like I was just wandering a lot. They just, I don't know, just kind of missed the mark for me.
So the only saving grace, you've played deeper, is they allude to a crafting system in the game. And for any kind of RPG or MMO, I love crafting. Just the thought of building items, and there's like a reward for going and gathering these mundane things and then putting it together. Did you get to a port?
There was a lady that said if you bring some sort of item, she can wash it off or something with these void crystals. I don't know. I didn't mess with that. I noticed that in the items menu, you had things that you could combine. I didn't see anything about the weapon crafting. I probably just skipped
any
the
of the combines.
dialogues.
Like that's the one thing I never fiddled with. So that might be the one saving grace. I'm gonna give it probably another hour of play, and then kind of make my verdict if I'm going to continue or just say, hey, I tried, I don't like this.
That's exactly what I did. I played the first hour and change, and then I went back and gave it another hour and change. Oh man, another thing that I ran into. Coming to think of it, like weird little things. Okay, one of the first big quests that I went to that I actually, like, when I accepted the quest, I understood where I needed to go. It was in this well. The guy said there's these creatures down in the well, and he's standing right next to the well. And it took me long enough to get into the damn well, because there's a ladder that goes down into the well, but the ladder is 5 feet lower than the top of the ledge, so you can't see the ladder unless you're at a certain angle. So I'm trying to just jump into the well, and there's like a hitbox thing that's blocking it. I finally got into the well. That's where I found those crocodile guys that just wrecked me. And after they killed me, it said, do you want to retry, or retry from last checkpoint, or save and quit? And I thought, okay, let me retry from last checkpoint, because it's probably closer than the normal retry for the whole mission. Like, there's probably a checkpoint right when I get to the alligator guys.
Yeah.
Okay, retry from last checkpoint. Now, this is the second time I started playing. It was after the tutorial stuff. I'd already finished all of it. It takes me back to tutorial missions that were before when I even saved.
Oh, jeez.
And if I wanted to close the game, it had a save and quit, which would have saved my progress even farther back than when the original save was. I guess I could have probably hard shut down the game and started from my other save after I'd already beat that training thing. But instead, I was just like, screw it, I'll just do the training again. But it was stupid that that's what it did.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just my own fault for being ignorant, just assuming that checkpoints were after you've loaded your save. You would,
Yeah,
I don't know, you would
that's
think
weird.
checkpoints would be more common than auto saves and saves. So that was dumb. The next time that I lost in that place, I just hit retry right at the beginning of the dungeon.
Yeah,
Little
that's
things
weird.
like that, like got under the radar, and it was just
It went
extra,
through QA and somehow didn't
yeah,
get
extra
caught.
time that I had to waste doing the exact same thing that I've already done. It's just little crap like that that just didn't sit well with me. So, I noticed right when I started up, it asked if I want to play online or offline.
Yeah, I did notice that too.
I'm gonna guess you can have people help you. I'm not sure if it's like Dank Souls, where you have somebody come in like a phantom version of them to help you fight. I'm not sure. I never really played Dark Souls.
That's the hard game, right? The game that's supposed to be
Yeah,
really hard.
and it's supposedly it's kind of similar to this too, where you're getting items and you're leveling up and whatnot. Same as most RPGs ever made. But I'm pretty sure you could play this in some multiplayer capacity. So maybe that's part of the saving grace of it. I feel like playing games when you're playing with the right people can definitely increase the experience. Like, if you're playing Minecraft by yourself, it's probably not very fun. But if you're playing with friends and you have somebody to talk to, just the socializing part of it
Yeah.
will make your whole
I
experience
find that
better.
for a lot of games I play that
Yep.
if I have people to talk to.
I feel the
So
same way.
let's get a rating.
At face value, for what I played, I'm gonna give this like a 5. And I feel like that's
So let's break it down
a
in two
little
parts.
generous.
At $29.99, what would you have given it?
Don't buy it. I would say absolutely don't buy this game. 2. I would give it like a really low rating just to deter people. Well, 3. The graphics were kind of cool.
Yeah.
So 3. If you want a lot of game, I feel like there's a ton of playtime in this.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of depth to this
So
game.
yeah, if you just want something to waste a lot of time and you don't mind the little buggy stuff, go for it. I'm not changing my rating, but it would be worth purchasing if you just want something to get a lot of time out of. Because I feel like there's a lot there. And I noticed there was even a speedrun mode built into the beginning of it. You can click on it and start as a speedrun game. So it's intended to be replayed as well. And
Yeah.
apparently there's a community behind speedrunning. That was probably how the first game kind of warranted a sequel or extra expansions or whatever this ended up being. So I personally would not. I would have been mad if I paid $30 for this. I would be mad if I paid $10 for this.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, if it were a $5 game, whatever. But
Yeah.
like I feel like I'm pretty much done with it, and I'm a little over 2 hours.
So I'm gonna give it a 4 for now, with an asterisk of I'm gonna continue playing through because some of my favorite games I didn't love in the first hour. So I'm gonna play additional to see if it gets any better. I have low expectations, and I'll post my findings on Twitter and Facebook. Is what I think from there. But I don't have high hopes.
No, yeah. Like I said, I was really surprised to see the overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. When I looked at it, I was expecting to see like 60%, something like that, like kind of moderate feedback. But no, apparently, people are more forgiving, or maybe they're all playing multiplayer.
That's also an aspect that might just be missing from our experiences. Somehow multiplayer might
Probably
be better because like my class, one of the skills I could get was enchanting weapons, but I was like, well, I can't enchant my own weapon, but I guess if you're multiplayer that can be super beneficial.
You probably could have enchanted your pawn's weapons, because I know one of my pawns was enchanting my weapon. That's the only way I dealt damage.
That makes sense. So again, this is Dragon's Dogma Arisen. Very positive reviews, so we'll figure out how that goes. This is only available on Windows through Steam.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that because
Yeah.
it seemed like it would go well on a console. It would make sense on a console, but hey, I guess if they're doing whatever they think works, Capcom's been making games for a long time. They know more about it than I do.
Yeah, so we just differ on this one, I guess. So check out some videos. Check out our video. Ryan's playthrough video will be on his YouTube channel the next day or two.
Sometime, yeah. I forgot to unhide it last time, but my work schedule is different now, so hopefully
Definitely
I'll
later.
get on that.
So check it out. That we'll have links and everything for that. Again, that's Dragons Dogma Dark Arisen.
Okay. I'm glad I wasn't alone on that, because
Yeah, I was. Exporting.
Sorry, people that are watching live, for my gross congestion, sniffling, ick. If Penny is still there, hello.
Oh,
we were talking.
we
when
were
you
we were
showed
mid
up.
talk, so hello.
Yeah, we
official
decided to
mother
get started a few minutes early because I want to go home and watch Akira tonight. They had it for $5 at Walmart. I'd never seen it.
You've never seen Akira?
I'm going to tonight. I've seen your daughter. I've seen
That's
Akira.
That's Akira.
Yeah, I've seen Akira.
When I have friends who are always like Akira. So just get used to hearing the word Canada screamed a lot.
Canada.
Dude, it's awesome. It's
I've heard nothing but good things about it, but every time I've seen it, it's been just a little pricier than I wanted to spend on some like whim type of thing.
yeah.
And I went to Walmart. It's like $5. I'm gonna treat myself. I just got a job, and then I got another job after that. So
Yeah, it's cool. So studio update. Actually, let me get a drink of water.
let me get a drink of this Arizona Energy RX. Pay me.
Be right back. Thanks for watching the live stream while this happens.
We gotta figure out that green screen.
Yeah.
Because everybody's gonna think there's a hole in your head. It's just not. It's not true. Just paint your head red or something. Wear a hat. Oh, now your green screen is making like a staticky thing. Static. Just oil his head. Put baby oil all over his head. New. Alright, it's gonna be possibly the last studio update of 2016. I was considering recording some updates on the episodes where Nate's not going to be here, of just the studio stuff that I have, and putting it with the other clips. Just like a little 10-minute thing where I'm talking to myself, or I might see if Kale wants to come over and just talk about what we're both doing. I don't know. We'll figure that out. I feel like something studio related should be in there, though. Because that's part of the thing that sets this apart, I feel, is that it's specifically an indie studio, and a lot of indie games and whatnot. Uh-oh, we got all the friggin' emoticon things flying across the screen now. Yeah. So...
Thanks for bearing with us. Or, well, with me, I guess.
I'm gonna round it out with Stu Studio.
Studio update.
I got a cough. I hate this. It sucks. Okay.
Alright, what's going on with Studio Doombrowski?
Doombrowski, the current one-man studio, with occasional help from buddies at conventions and whatnot. The Ninja Fat Man and Kale at Culling Music on Twitter, and Sandra Strickland. Currently a marketer for me. I keep telling her, like, if I make enough money on a game, I will pay her to market for me, because she can. I know it. Sandra's my girlfriend, for those of you who don't know, and she's really good at that promotional type of stuff. But anyway, what I've been doing this week for my studio, I've been working more on my game, Suburban Scavengers, the tug-of-war style fighting game where there's no health bars. You're just trying to drag a garbage couch into your house. That's your victory condition. Very relatable for a lot of people, I've found. Voted Orlando IX Best Narrative 2016. Award-winning.
Where's it also found at?
Where all is it at? I mean, you can download it right now on itch.io. And I just finished the Mall Santa update. It is live. You can download the game and fight as a Mall Santa or against a Mall Santa. So if Santa just didn't give you the gifts that you wanted one year, you can punch him in the face now or elbow drop him.
What's his victory animation?
It's this weird dance thing.
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah,
yes.
And Kale was cracking up at the dance, and it cracked me up too. Doesn't make sense for any Santa Claus. It's not Santa related, but my logic was, it's a Mall Santa. It's not Santa. It's somebody just posing, and they could be on LSD, or who knows. They always seem a little shady. Mall Santas do. So he does like this. He does pelvic thrusts, and then he has one of his arms that's like straightened out, and he does big circles with it, as his other arm does like this Egyptian snake bite thing, and he tilts his head up and down, and it goes between the pelvic thrust and that arm spin thing, and it just looks really goofy. And it would have had a creeper walk if Spriter didn't screw up on me, because I had it almost done, and due to Control-Z undoing things, and the way that it shows you stuff, it got rid of it, and it was sad. You live and learn. In order to get the Santa update done, last week I already had the animations done for Santa. I had everything imported into the game, and I actually had some video footage of gameplay with Santa in it. But it's not as easy as just putting that out for people to play, because the menu system for starting a game, previously, when you played as 2-player, it just put you in the game, because there's only 2 characters to pick from. I figure I don't want people to choose the same character, just throw them in. Whoever gets whoever, doesn't matter. And the 2-player, there were only 2 things to select. You could be the guy or the girl, and whoever you're fighting as, it'll change the other one to who you're not. But now there's 3. There's Santa Claus. So I changed the menus to all include 3 things. There's now a menu when you play 2-player to select a character, and it doesn't allow you to select the same character. And as 1-player, you select your first character, and then another little menu highlight will show up. You select your second character, and then it goes down to the ready, and you press go to start fighting. So that's all in. That's most of what I was working on this weekend. I spent throughout the day, I probably spent like 6 hours or so getting all that in order. I did a couple little bug fixes as well. A listener to the show and fan of the podcast, Kiki, Colton Daniels, also a
Colonel
Ton. He's also a backer on Patreon. Very much appreciated the help that he's given. He's still doing bug checks when he has some extra time, and he found a couple that he sent to me, and some of it was actually feature stuff that he just didn't realize, which is good that he's picking up on a lot of the things, and he has this good prioritization system that he thinks things should be prioritized as. And he showed me a couple other ones, so I got those squared away. There was one, what was it? Well, I know one not related to that, where when you press pause, pausing is not as simple as stop everything from moving and put a menu on top of it. It sounds a lot easier than it is. To pause and have everything stay in the state that it's in and like show the screen, the way that I have it is it creates a surface. So it takes a snapshot of the screen essentially, and then it scales it to fit the screen, because the camera and the screen size and scaling is all kind of its own thing. So to make it fit 1080p, it has to be scaled correctly. And then it just shows you that picture, and then it overlays a pause item on top of that, and then it overlays the graphic user interface on top of that, so they're lighter. So there's multiple steps to get the pause to work. I was having the pause show up on the graphic user interface layer, which is the top. No matter where it is, it's going to be at the top. So every other item will show up behind it. But if you were on the left side of the screen, it showed pause the normal size because I had it scaling correctly, and then pause a massive size, which was the GUI layer. And I didn't know why it was doing that. And it was because the scaling, the way that the GUI layer works, just is screwy. Yeah. So I got rid of the GUI layer, and it works totally fine. So now the scaling is fine, and that doesn't show you 2 pauses whenever you pause. Just silly little crap like that. But it's good that most of the things that I'm fixing in the game are little things like that. It's not like huge, big things.
They're not game crashing.
Yeah,
which is good.
yeah. I mean, one of them it's still floating around, and I told Colton about it, so hopefully he can recreate it for me, because he's really good at recreating the same bug multiple times, even if it's difficult. He sends me videos so I can see it happening, so I kind of gauge what exactly is causing it. So that's really awesome. Damn it, I'm trying to remember the bug that he told me about. I know he was wondering about the hitboxes, which I'm probably going to try to mess with a little bit. Yeah, because the hitbox currently is the length of your arm when you punch. So if your hitbox of your punch hits their hitbox of their body, it's going to punch them. So you could be facing the other direction from them and punch, and it looks like your arm is not even where they are, but the hitbox still touches their hitbox, and they get punched. So they're like here. Yeah. So I'm thinking of cutting the hitbox down to like maybe midway to down the forearm, so the fist will still hit it, but it won't hit. excuse me, when you're really close. The another little quality of life change I made is in the game, in the upper left and right hand corner, there's character portrait. It kind of lets you know what side of the screen you need to be pushing the couch to. And originally the character portraits had a color, and the color was within the image. So if you chose the girl character, it would show you as pink on the left side, but when you clash, it shows you a bar, and the bar is always the same color for each player. So if that's a little confusing, if you're player 1, when you clash, your bar is always blue. If you're player 2, it's always pink. The original player 1 and player 2 characters were Thad, which was blue portrait, Jenny, which was a pink portrait, so it just made sense. So I've changed it so the portraits actually have 2 different layers. They have a transparency layer with the picture of their face, and then behind it there is the color, the blue. So it's always blue on the left, it's always pink on the right, no matter what your character portrait is on top of it. That's just a minor little thing that it was irking me. I had to go back and fix. I made the houses change colors to accommodate for if the lady was on the left-hand side. I just got rid of that, so it was just a big waste of time. That seems to be a running theme lately. big waste of time. Dragon's Dogma being an example. Yeah. Kind of felt like a big waste of time. Like I said, the game is up on itch.io, and the Santa update is live. Currently, I have a total of 23 downloads, which is pretty low. I mean, especially for a game that's free, that I think is pretty fun.
People who've downloaded it from your newsletter?
No. If it was from the first newsletter, that would have been its own download thing. Okay. But on my newsletters, it shows how many clicks they've gotten, and it's like very few, like any links that are in there. The last few newsletters got 0 clicks, so I don't know. I need to do more exciting QR things. Code. A QR code.
The little square with the random checks in it, like little checkerboard looking thing that when they scan it with their phone, we just make a QR code that takes them to the download link for upcoming events and stuff. So someone could literally take their photo, go boop, and they could then save the page.
You'd have to show me that because I don't know
we'll
anything about that.
It's pretty cool.
Gotcha. Currently, my plan is to slow down on game development for a few weeks. Just do a little bit here and there, maybe a couple hours, a couple days. Not really, because I feel like I'm kind of worn out, especially on the same game that I've been working on. Maybe I'll work on a different game while I'm waiting for Kale. And once he gets the main piece laid out, then I can kind of use that to create other characters.
Like once you have the main body, you just throw it all on Spriter and.
That was the plan. Unfortunately, there were some scaling problems with some of the things that are very slightly different. Santa Claus has a big belly, for instance, and that led to problems. So I can use that experience for the future and have a lot of padding outside of the things and have anchor points to where the parts of the body will line up. So it literally will be swap it in with character maps, and I don't have to redo every animation and move everything in every animation.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, the next time we won't have to do that. And the animations are going to have more like turning and stuff in them too. They're going to have different angles. It's not just going to be from the side. We're going to try to make it look a lot less clip arty, and it's going to look a lot more animated. is probably the direction that we're going. Well, it is the direction that we're going. So all the art's going to be redone. And while I'm waiting for that, the only things I really could work on is the extra interactables that are going to be in the game and creating the menu systems accommodating for the full character roster, which is currently planned out to be 11. Well, 10 plus the boss, which I guess I could put Santa Claus in there too. No, I'm just going to leave Santa Claus in the free version. Anyway. And part of the reason that I want to slow things down is I want to play more of the games that we've been talking about for more time. Because I feel like I only get to play it for a little bit, and I'm still playing Duelist. I am still playing Duelist pretty frequently. They got a Frostfire gift thing going on right now. If you complete 15 quests, you get some like special skin for one of your cards.
Yeah.
And some other crap. But I kind of want it. So I want to play more Hearthstone. I played a little more Minion Masters, but I kind of want to sink into some games a little farther. So probably going to be doing that pretty soon. And I should be starting my new job this week at the card shop. So that should, once I get used to that, the time should be there. So that's pretty exciting.
That's good.
That's pretty much it for right now. You got any goings on?
Yeah, so I worked on Glimpse a little bit. My current issue lies in that I told you I had that epiphany of another game idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's really been like I'm sitting at work and I'm thinking of code like, oh, I could do this way, this way. And I've never really been that kind of like when I was making Glimpse and making even some of the test games like Heart Beast says, "Here, make this game with me," and you learn how to use Game Maker. I was never like thinking about it if I wasn't sitting there in the computer. So I feel like I'm being pulled away from Glimpse, and I have so many ideas for this other game that I'm trying to stick with Glimpse, but I think over my vacation I'm going to piddle around a little bit with it. There's going to be 1 or 2 days where my action-packed vacation will have lulls.
All right.
So I might fiddle around with that. I'm now need some music, hint, hint, for my Titanfall 2 best of video, which I don't know, I need about 10 more clips because I have a time. I'm trying to get to be a 10-minute video because that's the magic YouTube number apparently for stuff. Okay. So I need about 10 more clips because they're 30 seconds each. So I need about 10 more clips to get me where once I edit them and take out some of the stuff that's not part of the ooh ah, and then throw a little music on it, and then I'm ready to throw that on YouTube.
All right. Another consideration when going for music, because if you want a specific style of music, you might want to look for some Creative Commons stuff, because there's people that have tons and tons out there that just have their name on it. That's a good idea to get something. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I don't have a lot of time for things.
So besides that, still working on the YouTube channel thing with my wife. It's more trying to get the format and the timing, and it's going to require back and forth. And we do it more of a conversational basis, but the way the YouTube channel is going to work, it's going to be much more. The back and forth needs to be kind of scripted, and we need a way of doing that without having to do like practice runs of the YouTube, or we're going to end up diving in hours and hours of practice before we actually record the YouTube video.
You know what I just realized?
What?
That you named this Doom Ninja podcast episode 209 live recording. We're way into this, dude.
I meant to delete the 9, and then
people know that we're serious when we're at 209.
Yeah, that's 4 years. Is that? Yeah, I'm predicting the 4 years from now.
Episode 209. There's gonna be 3 more zeros behind the number of viewers right now. 4K. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, Colonel Tun, basically, have you thought about making prototypes? Sounds like you have all the ideas, but maybe just a small experience.
Colonel Tun. That still cracks me up, dude.
Yeah. It's actually a good idea. I may take that into consideration of my own little shenanigans. So that's it right now. Glimpse is going to be... I don't want to say I'm giving up on it because that's not what it is. I want to... Sorry, Kale just said on the live stream, for some reason my stream just had high-pitched playback and you sound like gnomes.
Nice.
Good times. I'm not going to give up on Glimpse, but I really want to work on this Untitled project to see where my brain takes me, because I think it'd be fun, and I have the juice for it, and then some of the YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I think as long as you you finish something that is okay. Because the first game that I started on, I didn't finish. Then I changed over to Decimate, and I finished it. First game was just way too huge, and just wasn't the right game.
Yeah.
So if it's not the right game, maybe time to switch over. And now that you've been doing it a little more, you can get ideas that are a little more in depth.
Yeah.
So.
And on my vacation, even on my downtime, like I don't sleep a lot. Even at nights, I'm not gonna have my Xbox or a gaming computer, so I'll have more time to do that stuff anyway. That's pretty much it for me.
Sounds good.